Hey guys, I've been working on functions for the past couple of days now, and I think I've settled on the final implementation of it. So let me show you guys what that looks like. I'm gonna go to the behaviors, and to find the functions, scroll all the way down in the custom section, and you'll see it right here. So I already created two functions right here for this demo, and you can add your own right here. So if I press this, it'll show up this menu, but let's not do that right now. Let's play around with functions for a bit. So I just put in this add function right here that I just made. It takes in two numeric fields. What this behavior does is it adds two numbers together and it returns the sum of it. So let's say 2 plus 3. All right, and then I'm gonna set this text to be the sum of this function. Right. So if I run this and I press it, it turns into 5. Cool, it's 5. That's what we intended. And I can change this around. 5 plus 3, that's 8. Oop, that's good. Cool. So how does this work under the hood? So if I go to the documentation, there's this new button right here called C implementation. If you press it, it will actually take you to the function itself. So I have the input fields right here. This is the output field. Ignore this behavior. So this is an input field. I just renamed it to be number A. So the title is optional. This is what shows up in the behavior as text. And then you can define what type of input field it is. So you can have a text field. You can have a numeric field. You can have all of this. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm gonna set it back to normal. Cool. So you have your input fields and you also have your output fields. So the title is optional, but the key is important here. Every output field needs to have a unique key. And the reason why we have a title is because in the return behavior, the title can be used to help identify stuff. So I can change this to be anything I want. So I can say output. If I go back to the return behavior, it will actually update in real time, which is cool. And it's optional too. So if I leave it blank, it'll just leave that blank. So you can see this as a label. So I'm just gonna call it sum. Cool. So this behavior is triggered every time you call a function. And in this behavior, you can put the description and the example of the function, which will show up in the documentation. So every time this function is called, it will execute all the behaviors under it. So in this case, I added number A and number B together. So the way input fields work is that you have input field behaviors, and every time you want to use an input field, you just drag the output of it, just like that. Really simple. And in the return behavior, I just want to return the sum of the two values. So that's how the add function works. Let's move on to a more complicated example. So sum of array. So this takes in an array and outputs the sum of it. So it adds all the values together and returns the sum. So let's say I want to have an array of 3 values, 1, 2, 3. That should add up to 6. So if I plug this in and test it, it outputs 6. So it works as intended, and I can play around with this, 23, 58, some random numbers. Boom. So it adds all the numbers together and returns it. Cool. Let's see how this works. If I go to the documentation, wow, look at that. You can define like titles and descriptions for this, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, this is the documentation, which is pretty cool. So I'll show you how that works. I want to see that. Yep. There we go. So you have the sum right here. You have the array, which is just a text field. And we have this new behavior here called document property. This is where you can write a title and description of a property that you want to describe about the behavior. So if I bring up the behavior again, go to the documentation. Yeah, so input array. So I can change this right now. So change it to something else and go back to the documentation. It actually updates in real time, which is pretty cool. And if I press this again, it will just take me to the behavior. So yeah. What else? So yeah, this sets the sum to be 0 at the beginning, and then it adds it all together and it returns it. Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah. And as you can see here, there are these behaviors that you can use to determine how your function works. So yeah, it's cool. Let's make our own function now and go through it step by step. Add function, and let's do something simple. Let's say I wanna multiply two numbers together. Cool. I've created a new function, and it will always start with this behavior right here called define function. Everything under it will execute every time this function is called. I can put a description, example, and I want to define 2 input fields. So, and I want them to be numeric input fields. So I'm just going to call this number A. I'm also going to call this behavior number A, but it already exists, my bad. I'll just call it A. And then B. Cool. I just created 2 input fields, both numeric, and I want to have an output field that determines the product. And the output field key is like what the behavior shows when you're dragging the output from it. So it can be product. The title can be whatever you want it to be. It's used under return behavior. Oh yeah, right. There's a bug right now. I have to refresh the scene for the behaviors to register. Okay, see, now it shows up. Yeah, so it's called product, but I can change this to be whatever I want. See, I can just, it's optional. You don't even need it. It's just there to help label things. So, what else? I want to multiply the 2 values together. So, A times B. Then I want to return that. Cool, we just made a simple little function just like that. Now, if I want to like add stuff to documentation, I can either go to here and change it right here, or I can add like a custom property. So let's say multiplication. This behavior multiplies 2 numbers. Well, this will be in the description, but I'm just doing this to show you. So let's go to this object here. Get rid of that. And as you can see, the new function that we made appears here. Number A, number B. Cool. Yeah. Right, let me restart the scene again. Hold on. There we go. There's the thing that we added earlier. Let's try 5 times 25. That should be 125. Let's see, product. Yep, it works. Awesome. Yeah, and if you want to edit a function at any point, you can either click on this and it will take you to the function, or you can go to the asset library and it will be stored in the functions folder, and you can see all the functions here. There's no thumbnail for any of these yet. I haven't found one yet. So I can click and hold, press edit function, and it will take me to the function, which is cool. So behind the scenes, it's actually, these are actually objects. It's actually stored in the global UI layer, but you can't see them. They're completely invisible. You can't interact with them. They're basically invisible, uninteractable objects. But the cool side effect of that is you can have it for every scene for behaviors that are like you know, let's say I want to have like a little timer here, and I want to shake the screen or something. Let's put an object here so you can see the screen shaking. So if I play it, it's gonna shake the screen every second because the behaviors are running as if it's in a normal object. So that's a cool little side effect right here. So you can have like, let's say you have a function that adds stuff to a list or something. So you can have like private variables if you want it. So in a way, this is kind of like a class, but with only one function. So yeah, that's pretty much it for functions. It's a little finicky right now. It is working, but there's still a lot of bugs I need to fix and stuff. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know what you guys think. Bye, love you.